All right, look, it's not about how he treats you when you're with him, but it's about how he treats you when you're not with him. Hear me out. Okay, obviously it's a little bit how he treats you when you're with him, because if he's not treating you right and you're still with him, what are you doing? Wake up. We're not doing that anymore. But if he is treating you right when you're with him, like you feel like a queen, everything's great, you have this like beautiful connection, it's romantic, like everything seems to be amazing when you're with him. But then the second you walk away, you're anxious, you're on edge, you don't know where you stand, you're confused.
Emotional, damn it!
Okay, woman, tell me that you have trust issues without telling me that you have trust issues. That kind of attitude can only be gained if you spent a concerning amount of time on Mr. Chad's wild ride, or you're constantly being scammed by Bible salesmen. Either one. And you don't strike me as the pious type. Well, not yet. I'm pretty sure you'll end up walking on some holy ground after your 39th birthday, but anyway, if you're with a dude who's treating you with dignity and you're turning around and getting into all kinds of crazy anxious when he's not around, that's not his fault. And it's kind of unfair for you to project your insecurities and blatant life failures on a guy whose only crime was giving a hoot about you. Which isn't a crime in most countries, but I'm fairly certain if I look hard enough, I can find a country that considers that a crime. But what would be the sentencing for something like that? I don't think I want to know, but if I had to venture a guess, I think it would involve a broken elevator, a bag of wasps, and 3 hours of Stephen Colbert's late-night imitation comedy. This would have to be a country that's exempt from the Geneva Convention, but that goes without saying.
He doesn't really reach out ever. He doesn't really make plans until you initiate the plans. He is so nonchalant when you're not around. Or if you're like, I just need to see him in person because I know once I see him that he'll change his mind. Like he'll remember how great it was. Listen, he's not that interested. He's interested enough to keep you around when it's convenient for him, for whatever reason, but he's not interested enough to want a future with you.
What we got here is a little game of show and tell. You don't want to show me nothing, but you're telling me everything.
All right, hold the phone there, Chatty Cathy. Are you suggesting that a man should have no life outside of yours? You do realize that men have jobs and things they have to do, right? They don't have time to be offering burnt sacrifices in the name of your blatant mediocrity, and it's kind of unsettling how it's the man's fault for the fact that you feel uneasy when he's not around, then you arbitrarily judge him for not doing enough when he is around, and that's because you refuse to lift a finger to make the relationship work. You assume it's just going to automatically work because that's what Taylor Swift taught you. And it's kind of sad that I have to be the one to tell you this, but life isn't some factory-made pop puff song that's only popular because someone told you to like it. Much like that man and his work, you're actually going to have to do some. Now, I know that much like cooking, cleaning, and the invention of fire, the idea of you actually having to put in some effort when it comes to making a relationship work kind of terrifies you. But if it's something you actually want, it requires more work than none at all. But hey, you can always just end it the second things become slightly inconvenient. You're probably doing that guy a favor at the end of the day if you go that route.
Indeed! You want to know the secret to pulling literally any guy that you want? And I'm talking any man. It's so simple, friends, and people on TikTok want to make it super complicated, but I'm going to make it really, really easy. It's remaining unbothered. And how do you remain unbothered? It's by being neutral towards a man's actions. Stop taking all of his actions so personally. A lot of you, if he doesn't text you, you get so sad. You think, I'm not worthy. I wish I was better. I wish he'd text me back. But like that is a victim mindset. If you're on my channel, we're victors. We take back the power in our own lives and we create the narrative. We don't hand over the power to a man. We take it back and we become powerful ourselves.
I've always been of the firm belief that if you give a modern woman quote-unquote power in a relationship, it's a lot like giving the remote control to an ant. They don't understand what it is, they don't know how to use it, and it'll probably just cause them to stress eat, so it's virtually pointless. Now, I do agree, if you don't receive immediate text or as many calls as you like, melting down on TikTok is probably not the best solution to your problems. But being passive-aggressive towards a man for doing things you don't like isn't taking power back. And to prove this, we're going to use what I like to call the Tyronius theorem. It's the idea that when either a modern woman, a dating coach, or a divorced woman over 50 is talking about men, she is clearly referring to the top 5%. The The remaining men don't exist. So operating under that principle, she is trying to give out advice on how to take back power from a man who has more options than an omelet at your favorite greasy spoon. Already at this point, we can assume that this plan has already failed for reasons that are fairly obvious to your garden variety field mouse.
You are in the driver's seat of your life. Let me just state plainly. So start becoming so neutral to a man's actions and just be like, okay, noted. So if he doesn't text you when he said he was going to, okay, noted. You're not that guy that you said you were. If he's talking to a bunch of girls or posting online with a bunch of girls, okay, noted. You're probably not worthy of being my boyfriend. It's not, oh my God, I need to compete with this woman. Oh my God, I'm so jealous. It's, okay, noted. You're not worthy of my time and energy. Nobody is you, and that will always be your power as a woman.
Are you sure?
Okay, sister, you got it so backwards that it's actually kind of depressing. Here's the deal. While operating under the Tyronius theorem, we already know that you have no power, no sway, and no real use to this man outside of what he can get from you in the bedroom. And if he's talking to other women, you won't be able to help yourself but compete with these broads who have a better chance of locking Tyrone down than you ever could. Telling yourself that he's not worthy of being your boyfriend will never work because the truth is, you are not worthy for him. That is why you're nothing more than a concubine. And much like a concubine, your worth is solely measured by the time and energy you commit to that bedroom, which is more than you're willing to do because it's all you have to offer. But it's not a power that you wield, it's a service that you offer. And much like other service providers, you're easily replaceable the second a better offer comes around.
When you compete with nobody, nobody competes with you. Stop attaching your self-worth to what a man thinks about you or how he treats you. You are so much better than that. Become neutral to his actions and watch your life frickin' change. And then every time he does something, just check, okay, noted. Okay, he forgot to get me flowers on Valentine's Day. Okay, noted. He's not that guy. See his actions of a reflection of him, which is facts, that's what it is. And stop seeing it as a reflection of your worth.
Great plan.
Thank you.
He likes your plan, Chief.
Lady, no offense, but if your brain smoothed over, it would imply that you actually had a brain. The way he treats you is an exact reflection of your worth, and that's because you allow the treatment to happen because you think you have a chance with him. If you didn't appreciate his treatment of you, then you could have walked away at any time. Nobody was stopping you. There would be no need for the ticking of these boxes. You would have just bolted and moved on with your life. But because your value is so incredibly low, you would rather passively allow the behavior to happen in hopes that one day he'll suddenly change his mind. And we all know your value. All we have to do is take a look at your artificial body parts and the terrible way you dress and your lack of an elementary vocabulary, and self-respecting men know how low your value truly is. But the good news is you'll never chase self-respecting men. They couldn't care less what you think. So that leaves you with Tyrone, who's just going to be okay with you and your tick boxes because the second you speak up, he'll find another warm body to replace you. It'll probably take him all of 5 seconds to do so, but mind you, that's only on a very slow day.
That's funny because it's so true.
They say you need 4 hugs a day for survival, 8 hugs a day for maintenance, and 12 hugs a day for growth. I get maybe 2 hugs a week in New York. And I think part of the reason why I've been thriving and feeling so good back home in Arkansas is because I've been getting like 8 hugs a day minimum, like firm, long ones with people I love. And I'm honestly concerned. I'm on my way back to New York right now, and then I'm going to be traveling around Europe for a month. I'm not going to be getting many hugs. I'm going to keep an eye on my happiness to hug ratio and keep you guys updated, but I honestly think I'm about to go like this. We shall see.
You! I will think of you as I throw up into the toilet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I supposed to give you sympathy because you only got 3 hugs a week from some simps? Alright, maybe I'm wrong on this one, but it's kind of hard to have pity for an online avenue stroller who complains about getting more hugs in 1 week than most men get in a year. Hell, if an average man gets 3 legitimate non-family hugs in a given year, that's actually above par for most dudes. But there's also the idea that she thinks she's so important that the entire planet has some sort of an emotional investment on how many hugs she gets when she's traveling. Now, I can't vouch for most men, but I have a significantly higher emotional investment in the material content of my socks. Now, as a man, I personally believe that the basis for all human comfort starts at the feet. And if your feet are miserable, you're miserable. It's really that simple. So for me, I need a material that's a blend of fabrics that allow my feet to breathe. And if we're being even more honest, a man can never pay too much for a quality pair of socks. And the sock market, to me at least, will always be significantly more of a worthwhile investment of time and energy than the thought market where simps worry about whether or not some random broad gets enough hugs on her trip to Europe.
You blew it. Capiche?
Y'all, I'm done dating. I give up. I'm gonna be single for the rest of my life. I've been talking to this guy on Hinge for like a week, and he asked me to get drinks like on Thursday for Saturday, and I was like, oh, perfect. He lives like kind of far, and I was like, do you want to meet halfway? And he was like, no, I need to be in Raleigh on Saturday, so let's just meet up. That'll be perfect. And I was like, great. So we have plans for 5. He messages me on Hinge today and is like, actually, do you mind if we switch to 6:30? And I'm like, great, because it gives me more time to like run errands and do things that I needed to do today anyways.
What's this? Another modern woman got stirred up for a drink date? Now that's a scoop right there, so stop the presses. We gotta get this headline on the front page because apparently the whole world cares that this woman is deleting the dating apps over this. Be serious for a second, woman. So in other words, you're going to sit around your overpriced apartment until 3 o'clock and then spend the next few hours getting ready for a date that doesn't require half of the amount of prep work you're giving yourself. It's drinks, woman. It's not a high society jewel heist. But even if this wasn't the case, that's an awful lot of unnecessary stage setting for a dude who stood you up for drinks. It's so blatantly generic that it's practically cookie cut from a factory. We all know that you'll never give up the apps, no matter what scheduling issues are thrown your way. It's the validation and the delusion that Chad will one day pick you that keeps you going until menopause poisons your soul to the point of needing 1,000,000 cats to compensate.
So he gives me his number from Hinge. He's like, here's my number if you want to switch to text. So I text him like around 4 and I was like, hey, it's Maria, here's my number, just so he has it. Then he doesn't answer, but I like don't care really. And then we're getting closer to 6:30 and I'm not gonna get fully ready because I haven't heard from him. Like, it's kind of weird. Like, usually people follow up, I don't know. So I get like half ready. Like, I kind of do my hair, I definitely shower, like things that I needed to do anyways that I probably would have done just later. Then 6 rolls around and I'm like, okay, he's gonna cancel. Like, he hasn't hit me up. So I text him, which I know is stupid, and I was like, are we still meeting at 6:30? And then he texts back, I'll be there.
Boring.
Yeah, we all know where this is going, woman. The date didn't happen. The least you can do for us is at least try to make that delusional brain pan of yours to create something that's mildly compelling. Here's an example. Maybe instead of just running through your schedule and boring us with every minute detail of your obvious failures, you could involve some dragons, or some catapults, or a hot air balloon ride to Russia to stop the Kremlin from poisoning the premier's tapioca pudding. I don't know, something, woman. For the pine-scented half-bath of the intergalactic space god Blumblakar, all hail, you owe us that much. If you're going to tell us the same story we've heard 1 billion times over from life failures that are slightly prettier than you, then the least you can do is spice up the story to make it even mildly entertaining. Just because you're scared of the kitchen and think spice is an internet profession doesn't mean you shouldn't at least try to put in an effort.
So I'm like, okay. So I like rush to get ready at this point because like I haven't done my makeup or like walked my dog. So I'm like rushing to put on my makeup. I finish doing my hair. I get my outfit ready. I'm about to like run my dog outside. I'm like spritzing perfume right then. Text, and I knew it. I was like, he canceled. There was no point. I could have sat at home in my fucking pajamas and eaten Skinny Pop and watched Bridgerton.
And now I just did full makeup and fucking did my hair. There's hairspray in it. Y'all, I'm done dating.
You're boring! You're fucking dull! You have nothing to say! You are a one-hived mind twat waffle!
So, not only are you a piss-poor storyteller, you're also god-awful with your time management. You literally said that you had things to do that day, but apparently none of those things involved walking your dog or taking a shower or doing one of the other 1,000 things that constitutes being an adult in modern society. So what did you do all day outside of fantasizing the color of your bridesmaids' dresses? You had your doubts, so you decided to do nothing except be lazy all day over the prospect of having an overpriced drink with a guy who lives in a different part of the state. Now that's not Hinge's fault. That's not even the dude's fault. It's your fault for placing so much of an emotional investment in something that would have most likely resulted in you complaining on TikTok about this terrible date as you scarf down popcorn and binge watch British period melodramas. Which, once again, is a scenario we've already assumed, because if there's one thing that's missing from your life, it's anything that can be considered even remotely interesting. And that's gonna do it for today's video, gentlemen and gents. And as always, if you find that my particular brand of comedy is bringing you to the brink of laughter, then why don't you scroll on down and click that like and subscribe button. Ring the notification bell, leave a couple of comments, and make sure to share this video so we can give the good old-fashioned middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for checking out the new video, and until next time, peace out, homies.